that we have that to, we have that source to comfort ourselves. Because we can be comforted by one thing and one thing only: Jesus Christ. In this world you will have much tribulation, but be of good cheer. God's overcome this world. This is not our home. This is a temporary passing through. And in a temporary passing through, one of the things that we have to think through is, okay, well then what am I going to do with the time that I have? And can I make a suggestion to you? Spend it for something that will outlast it. Y'all, you know, on my other channel especially, it is about material things and fun events, and, you know, whether it's about, you know, talking about what's in your handbag. Obviously that's silly and kind of like, who cares? But it's just something fun. And I don't think it's anti-Christ in any way. I just think there's sometimes where we need something lighthearted, and I think the Lord knows that we need it. He says that a joyful heart is actually healing to us. So we can't be super serious all the time. And then the thing is when people say, well, it's just no fun being a Christian. That's not true. I have a lot of fun and I'm a Christian. There are times for solemnness. There's times for reflection that may reveal that there's a bitter part of our lives. Not to be swallowed in bitterness. When I say bitterness, y'all, I want to be really clear on this. I'm not saying it's okay to be bittered. I'm saying there are bitter things that will happen. And not be bittered is how we reflect Christ. So it's very important to us as ladies, and if there's any gentlemen watching this, you even more so, because males are very clearly in the Bible the headship. Jesus is the headship of the church. Adam was the headship of Eve, even though they're equal. Don't get equality confused with headship. And we can talk about that sometime if you want to. Comment below. But especially, I used to be like a very women's liber until I realized that there is a huge amount of value to being a support person. Not everybody is a leader. There are followers. Think about Jesus and his disciples. And I don't mean just the 12 or the 24 apostles. I mean all the people that were following him. Leaders need followers. I work as an administrator at work, and I know my boss could not do their job. My bosses couldn't do their job without me. If I left, they'd have to get a replacement, because you need people who follow to support while you lead. You need to focus on leading. I need to focus on supporting, because leading's hard, and so it needs support. And also visionaries, people like that, are people with grave responsibility. When I say grave, I mean it's got huge consequence to it if they do it right or wrong. They need support. They may just need support of knowing they have followers, even though they're looking to God. Let's hope, if we're following them in any way. And that includes, you know, it's important to me that who I follow at work is like that. I have supported, I should say, people at work who weren't Christian. One was even an atheist when I worked at Home Depot. Since I've been at Chick-fil-A so far, every person that I've worked for has been a Christian. That doesn't mean it's a Christian company or that everybody there's a Christian. There is no Christian company, by the way. You realize Christians have to be people. So there may be some leadership that is, but there also may be people who are not. And that doesn't matter. God could still use you. Even when I've been in support of an atheist, God used me in that. When I've been in support of a Christian, God used me in that. When I've been in support of someone who was of another faith, I had a Jewish boss. I've had not Muslim. Well, I've supported Muslim co-worker or just friendship. But God used that. So don't think that everything and everybody in your life, like I'm not going to a restaurant if they have a bar in it. Because there's a little family restaurant up the road and it has a bar in the back half. You know, just I think it's people have like comfort food and somebody may get a beer. Again, things like alcohol, obviously, if you let alcohol cause you to get drunk, that's not good. God's real clear on that. He never says don't drink. He says don't get drunk. And there's a fine line. That's why you got to be really careful with that. But there's other things in your life like eating. He doesn't say don't eat. He says don't be a glutton. That can be just as bad. It's a sin. So as I have gotten overweight, I said, God, I don't want to reflect sin. So will you help me get my appetite and exercise, sleeping and drinking water under control? And I'm still praying about that. I don't have full victory over that yet. I pray I will one day when I can fully focus, because I know God can help me. I know He can help me change. I know that He can help with medical situations. I know that He can help with mental situations. So as we look at Mary, back to Mary, as we look to her and say, okay, is she a good example for a woman? Well, sure she is. There's lots of women in our lives. I know my mother certainly was, that are good examples of what we